Broadcasting live from the Business RadioX studio in Cumming, Georgia, it's time for FOCO Talks, brought to you by the Forsyth County Chamber of Commerce.
Hello and welcome to the debut episode of FOCO Talks, the Forsyth County Chamber of Commerce's radio show and podcast. I am your host, Amanda Pierce, and we are broadcasting live from the Business RadioX studios here in beautiful Cumming, Georgia. At the Forsyth County Chamber of Commerce, their mission is to champion business and support the community. If you'd like to learn more about the Chamber, please visit focochamber.org. Today it is my distinct pleasure to introduce some of the integral members of the Chamber of Commerce. I am here in studio with the President, Mr. James McCoy. Welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me.
Of course. And here with the current board chair, Derek Brooks. Welcome to the show, Derek.
Thank you. I'm excited to be here.
We're excited to have you. And then my co-host for the day, who will ultimately be at the helm of this series, is Miss Michelle Daniels. She is the Vice President of Business Development, among many other things within the Chamber. Welcome to the show, Michelle.
Thanks for having me.
Of course. Well, I'm really excited today to share with our listeners a little bit about the great work that the Forsyth County Chamber of Commerce does in our community. But in order for us to educate them about the Chamber, let's first educate them about you. So I'll start with James, and I know, James, you are a humble man, so it is my job here to shine the light on you briefly. James McCoy is the president and the CEO of the Forsyth County Chamber of Commerce. For the last 16 years, he has led several successful campaigns to gain voter approval for over $2 billion for education, transportation, and public safety, infrastructure improvements included. During his tenure at the Chamber, the organization has worked with over 400 economic development clients and commercial real estate developments, and have announced the creation of over 22,000 new jobs and over $2 billion of new capital investments within Forsyth County. Phew, that is quite the accomplishment, James.
Thank you.
I tip my hat to you.
Thank you.
I'd like you to maybe share a little bit with our listeners about that profound impact that you've had thus far and some of the catalysts to your success. Well,
thank you. When I first came to the Chamber in 2005, the organization had a budget of about $680,000, and we had a staff of, I can't recall, I think 4 and a part-time person. And it was pretty narrowly focused around some networking events, some community events, and some of that work. And the board of directors at the time, chaired by Andy Walker, and many folks know Drew Walker, who is Andy's son, is going to be our board chair next year for the Chamber. And we're excited about that, to have that sort of multi-generational investment in the organization. But Andy made it very clear that when I was hired, the expectation was that we were going to be an economic development entity, that we were going to, in addition to providing great service to local companies and giving them an opportunity to grow themselves and invest in themselves, that we were also going to become an organization that aggressively went out and recruited new companies to this community, worked with developers to build new office product, new flex space, and commercial space, and that we would be a leader and leading partnerships to be able to get these big ticket infrastructure items accomplished, like the widening of 400 and other things. And of course, what really is central to that is driving the partnerships to help make that happen. So all of that is to say that it was a very intentional plan from well before I arrived here, and there's quite literally not a day that goes by that I am not very, very grateful that they took a big risk on me, because I was a mere child when I was hired, and that's actually kind of true. I look back on it now and I thought, gosh, you guys were crazy to take a risk on. I mean, I was 26. And so, I look back on that now, but I'm so grateful that happened, because, and I hope others are grateful that it happened, but I certainly am, and have enjoyed, every minute of it. And there's a lot of great stuff in Forsyth County to work with.
Absolutely. I think that the risk was worth the reward.
I hope so. I hope so. They haven't let me go yet. So, and I'm looking at Derek, who's our board chair, and I'm like, right.
Am I still in?
Not this year.
Speaking of Derek, I'd like to share with our listeners a little bit about Derek Brooks. You might know that he is a Forsyth County native, and he is the third graduating class of South Forsyth High School. I guess that carries a lot of clout around here.
It lets folks know I'm for real about Forsyth County.
About Forsyth County. He not only owns and operates Brandywine Printing Incorporated here in Forsyth County. It's a family-owned business, and it was founded in the early 80s by his father. Brandywine Printing helps organizations succeed by providing printed materials that improve their image to make them more efficient. Beyond that, Derek is an active Rotarian. He loves giving back to his community. He participates in many nonprofit ventures, and I'll let him expand on those points. But something funny here, Derek, that I want to share with our listeners is that you like jigsaw puzzles of any kind.
There's one on my kitchen table right now.
How many pieces?
1,000, but it's a weird one. It's a weird one, but it's 1,000 pieces.
Oh.
Biggest I've done is 3,000 pieces.
Yikes. Now that's a cliffhanger. It's a weird one. What is it?
I mean, I don't know how to talk about it. It's you put it together. It comes in an envelope. Mm-hmm. You empty the envelope. You put the puzzle together. When you're done with that, it goes, hey, there's another envelope. Go, open that one. There's more pieces, and it's actually 5 puzzles in one, and you move them around, and it makes a different design, and it's really cool.
Sounds
and I love
really
it.
Intricate.
And it's one company that started on Kickstarter. And they said puzzles have been the same forever, and we just wanted a cool puzzle. I think it's called the Magical Mystery Puzzle Company.
That sounds very cool. Yeah. I'll have to give it a Google.
It's very cool.
Sorry to deviate from the impact of the chamber and your role within. I just wanted to share that little nugget of something fun with our listeners. And for those of you who don't know Derek personally, again, he is the current board chair of the Forsyth County Chamber of Commerce. Derek, share with us a little bit about what that role entails and about your enthusiasm for the organization.
Yeah. So as a native, I've never said this out loud, but Forsythian, I've seen a lot of change in our community, and it's not all good change. It's not all bad change, but it's change, a lot of change. And I talked to a past board chair of the chamber, and I said, why would you do that? He said, because I can make more change in this position without running for office than anything else I can think of. And I said, okay. So, so through the chamber and through this position, I've been able to have conversations with people I usually wouldn't have access to, and have been able to foster positive change in our community. So that's the driving factor for me. So far, all of that has worked out well.
Fostering positive change.
Yeah. And I've had to print 0 campaign signs.
I like
for
that.
myself.
I do have to just, because I am so delighted with the partnership that you and I share here. We are seated in this beautiful new studio here off of Tribble Gap Road in Cumming, Georgia, and it is all decked out. We got all of our graphics and all of our logoed items from Brandywine Printing. So thank you for partnering with us and making the studio look stellar.
Well, it's a two-way partnership, so we appreciate it as well.
Of course. Thank you for all of your service within the community, gentlemen. I would be remiss if I didn't shine the light on my co-host who has been silent thus far, Miss Michelle Daniels. She is an exciting gal that does so many things for the chamber. Her title does not do service for all of the functions that she performs. She and I connected personally because we share a passion for marketing and a lot of things creative, and we have equally matched energy, which is kind of unique because not everybody has that much energy. Again, Michelle is the Vice President of Business Development here with the Chamber. And share with our listeners, Michelle, a little bit about what you do within that role and how you serve the great county of Forsyth.
Absolutely. So at the core of my role, we did a big transition back in 2021 at the Chamber of Commerce where some folks shined throughout the pandemic and things were highlighted. And of course, those that know me personally and professionally know that I absolutely love to be creative, whether it's building websites, doing social media and digital marketing is actually, my specialty, my background, and I really enjoy it. And a lot of people don't like that. So at the core of my role is actually to lead the chamber marketing and communications efforts, not only for the chamber, but also for our economic development arm, Forward Forsyth. And then I also oversee all of the membership and sales side. So we've actually fused marketing and sales for the first time in the Chamber's history. So it's a lot of fun to be able to propel businesses in a completely new way. The launch of this podcast, of course, is one of them, to be able to deliver insight and information, and how the Chamber can help not only our community, but help businesses grow and flourish.
Well, thank you for all that you do. I know that if anybody listening is active within the Forsyth marketplace or any of the surrounding marketplaces, they will have been at an event that you had a hand in orchestrating, or they would have met you at an event like I have too. Michelle's always running around introducing people. She's got the camera. She's doing videos. She's doing everything that makes all of these events so fruitful for all of us to attend. That's something that I'd like to chat about, if you don't mind. I wanted to share with our listeners from my own personal experience as a newcomer to Forsyth and also a new Cabinet Club member, my experience as a new person to the marketplace. And I will share with you, it was very welcoming. I met Michelle and Beth pretty early on. They treated me to a delicious lunch at Tam's Tupelo. We got to know each other. They really kind of expressed a true desire to understand my goal within bringing Business RadioX here to the community. And we kind of formed a friendship based on getting to understand each other's passions and where we're looking to go here in the years to come. And I think that's where we found our synergetic partnership. And here we are today. So I wanted to thank you for all of the opportunities that you provide and all the resources that the Chamber provides to not only Forsythians, is that what you said, Derek?
I'm going with it.
Forsythians, but for anybody that'd like to participate in any way, shape, or form. And again, if you'd like to learn more, visit FOCOchamber.org. Now we're going to kind of open up the floor and have a little bit of a group discussion. And I'd like for you guys to share your perspective on the Chamber of Commerce. James, you have a tenure within the association, and also it is near and dear to your heart. So I'd like to ask you, what does the Chamber do for the community?
Well, Derek really summed it up nicely. I mean, in my view, the Chamber of Commerce is the tool outside of any other sort of government entity or elected body to create lasting, meaningful change. We're not subject to election cycles. We're not subject to political changes that happen sometimes nowadays in the course of a week or less. It's our job to be focused on the long-term future of this community. And the long-term interests of the business community to ensure that it is a very prosperous place that we all want to live and work and grow and develop in, and that opportunity exists. So, but the short version of that is exactly what Derek said. We are an agent of positive change, and really, if you look not just around the country, but around the world, the communities that have enjoyed the greatest prosperity and the greatest change, that change is really when great business people are deeply involved with their community and creating those outcomes. And what we try to do is foster that, facilitate that, and the direct benefit of people who get involved with that is that they generally see their businesses grow. They generally see their own individual prosperity increase and opportunities increase because, you want to do business with people and people that you do business with or work in the community with, rather.
Well, and James, that brings up a really great segue into Derek's chamber story because, Derek, I know, of course, we always want to help other businesses grow and flourish. And, Derek, you've got a really great chamber story about, so share that with us.
Yeah. So my dad started our company in our basement in 1982. And so there was a point, I guess, in order for our business to grow, when I told him I wanted to do this for a living, he said, well, we're making $50,000 a year, and that's not enough for two families. And even though I was still living in his house, he needed to pay me, or felt like he needed to, and I agreed with that. So he said, if we're gonna do this, you need to figure out how to get more customers. So I started selling printing, and part of that work was figuring out how to meet businesses. And so I got a chamber membership. I don't remember when we actually join the chamber, but it would have been between 1994 and 2000. So I like to say I've been a chamber member since the 1900s, which is true, but sounds a lot more impressive than it really is. So I joined the chamber, and I started going to the networking events, the business after hours, and that was pretty much it. The business after hours was the value that I got from the chamber, but I met other businesses around, and so I said, okay, well, I should get more involved. And so we were doing different things with the chamber to meet more people, and that was before James was with the chamber. You came in
05.
So there was, in that change of the guard between the old administration and James and the new administration, I kind of was a fan of the old administration. They didn't do everything right, but it was a lot of fun. And so I was kind of like, hey, wait a minute, I like having fun and I know these people. So now that it's different, I'm gone. So I actually dropped my membership for a short period of time. And I don't know if you remember this, James, but we were at Movies 400 one time, and you were behind me or in front of me in line. I think you were in front of me, and I knew that it was you. And I said, should I join the chamber? And of course you said yes. So, and you sent somebody out to meet with me, and I rejoined. So, anyhow, so at that point, a small company, me and my dad, I think at that point I probably had a pretty small staff as well, but it was still, we're very small, less than 10, team of less than 10. And I was involved in every way that I knew how to be involved. But there was, and I think that, I don't remember specifically what happened, but I think the chamber organization hired me to do some printing at some point. And I said, you know what, at the end of the year, I said, I'm going to reinvest all the money they gave me. So whatever that project was, I just said, let's do sponsorship with all of that money. And I think the way that it turned out was it increased my level of membership, because I was at this today, I think our basic membership is $350 a year. And then depending on how many employees you have, it could be higher than that, right? So, but you're not limited to the $350 a year. So I said, here's the money you gave me. Here it is back. What can we do with this? And what it ended up doing was increasing my level of membership, and I got some sponsorship dollars out of it somehow or another. And I learned, I wasn't aware of it at the time. It opened doors to, and I don't know that this is the actual next level that I went. I think I went from a standard membership to a chairman's cabinet membership, and I was not aware that there was a chairman's cabinet at the time, because little me and my dad in our basement we don't even need to talk to him about that. So anyhow, so now I'm there, and I'm getting invited to these other events that I'd never been aware of before. So I went to them, and I'm like, okay, there's different people in this room, and it was a different level of networking. So not that the other level went away or I stopped doing it, but there is a different level of networking when you can get into a different room that's a different level. So so from there, I did the same thing the next year and said, okay, let's put all this on advertising. And so now I'm chairman's cabinet member, and I'm advertising with the chamber. And then people started saying, oh, I know Brandywine. Oh, I know Brandywine, this, that, and the other. And it was literally my only marketing was through the chamber. And I was putting all my eggs into that basket, because our customers are businesses. So if you're business to business, it makes perfect sense, because everybody there is a business. So I think the next thing was, now people knew who I was, and I got invited to be on a committee somewhere. I don't even remember. And I guess I added some value there, because I got invited to sit on a different committee. And then in 2014, I was invited to sit on the board. And I don't know to this day who referred me to the board. If you got those records, I'd like to, maybe I need to visit somebody. But anyhow, so on 2014, I joined the board, and Yeah, I mean, from there, at some point, some board chair asked me if I wanted to be board chair in the future. So the system that we've got in place for continuity is great because I've been, let's say, today I'm board chair. Last year I was board chair elect, and the year before that I was second board chair elect. So I've been groomed very well. Now that I'm here, it doesn't feel new, which is great. We have a great process, and we have the past board chair. All of that goes really well together. So that's the long version of my chamber experience, and it still continues.
And it's a great experience. Thank you for sharing. It's a great segue into my next question is, you mentioned you spent all your advertising dollars within sponsorships within the chamber and advertising, within the chamber. How has that helped your business? Because I know that you had a couple of stories of, the Business Roundtable opened up some relationships that actually led to some really big projects for you and your team. Yeah,
I forgot about that. That was when we started the Business Roundtable. That would have been in 2009, I believe, and it was a SCORE. Do you know what SCORE stands for? It's like something about retired executives.
Service Corps of Retired Executives, and they do not call themselves that. Now they're just SCORE. Because there's a lot of folks involved with it that aren't retired.
So they say it stands for whatever you want it to stand
for. That's right.
Okay. So SCORE was doing a pilot roundtable thing through the Forsyth County Chamber, and I was approached, and they said, somebody that worked, chamber staff said, would you like to be at this? And I said, yes. I have a rule. It's from Jeffrey Gitomer, is a sales author, guru, and he's got a rule, and I call it my rule because I've used it, but it's the 50 butt rule. If there's 50 butts in a room, mine is too. And if y'all have noticed, is that true? That is true. If there's 50 butts in a room, by golly, I will be there. So when I got invited to be in a room with people, absolutely, I'll take it. So yeah, I did the round table. I met a lady there that I've never met before. We ended up doing some philanthropic work together. Brandywine, her company, 4 or 5 other companies, and we became good friends. And so we became good friends with her. Me and my wife became good friends with her and her husband. We've traveled together, and we hung out together a lot. I mean, really good friends. I would say almost best friends. Probably, let's just go with that. We're best friends. And in 2000, I don't know when it was. It was maybe 10 years ago. They sold their company, and they started a new company. And they needed some printing help, and I gave them some advice. And in 2019, that advice turned into $500,000 profit for each of us. So, and we still do that work. That's not as big. That was a unique year. I would like to do it every year. But one job in 17 days for them, we mailed 1.3 million letters that were over $1 million in revenue, over $1 million in profit. So it was pretty cool.
That's amazing. Well, thank you for sharing. That's incredible to hear your story. And, just the different, especially since it's been since the 1900s, as you'll say. We'll keep that. But James, will you share with us, because one of the things that, Amanda and I have had conversations, and many folks around the community, we've had this conversation, but a lot of people don't know what a Chamber of Commerce is. So can you share with us, really at the core of it, what is a Chamber of Commerce, and how does a Chamber of Commerce actually help businesses?
Well, its real core, it's a group of business people who come together, and they've decided that they want to grow their business, and they want to grow their business by knowing one another and doing exactly what Derek just described, and use the chamber as an avenue for building that. They also say, you know what, there's a lot of us in this room, there's a lot of us in this organization, and we can create some real change. And so a chamber identifies needs in the community that help both business and residents, and work on those initiatives. Transportation infrastructure, for us, it's transportation infrastructure improvement, it's community development, it's our partnership with our schools, and ensuring that the business community is doing everything we can to keep our school system at, the leading the nation by all measures, really, but and certainly in the state of Georgia. And so that's really at the core of it. It's just a group of business people who come together and organize themselves to execute some work and networking events. And in our case, in our chamber, they decided that they would pool their resources to hire full-time staff to execute some really important, at least in my view, really important strategic initiatives to drive change in the community. And the idea is, hey, we want somebody getting up every day working on workforce development or economic development or putting these events together so everybody can come together and build those relationships that not only build community but build businesses.
Wonderful. So, Derek, I'm going to come to you for the next question. So we are hearing about all the great things that a Chamber of Commerce does for not only the community, but for businesses as well. When you are approached by a business owner, say you're at dinner or at trivia with your wife, and someone says, well, why should I join the chamber? What's your response to that?
It's funny. The first thing I ask them is do they live in the county? Because I don't think your average resident of Forsyth County doesn't realize how much work the chamber's done to help them live the lifestyle they've become accustomed to. And so while it is about driving business and commerce, there's so many things. I mean, James mentioned the widening of 400. The hand that we had in bringing all the people to the table to make that happen was instrumental. So who lives in Forsyth County or around Forsyth County that doesn't appreciate the extra lanes on 400? And they may not say it today, but I assure you, if you ask them about what that was like before we had those lanes, right? So I generally will start with that. Do you live in the county? Because if you do, there's so many things. I think a lot of people don't realize our school board was started by the Chamber of Commerce. I mean, there was no school board. So there's so many things that our chamber has done and continues to do to enrich the lives of people that live in Forsyth County. So that's that. I was on the rebranding committee when we did a couple of years ago, and we were talking about should we have a tagline, and I said, can we have the tagline? It would be like Forsyth County Chamber of Commerce. You have no idea what we've done for you, because it really, there's so many things that if you start peeling back the layers, you're like, oh, the chamber did that. Oh, the chamber did that. There are things that, a lot of those, the questions on our ballots that we vote on, we have a hand in a lot of those questions to help things, positive change happen here from our voters. So a lot of people don't realize the Chamber of Commerce has to do with that stuff.
I will say from personal experience, if you don't work the chamber doesn't work for you. And if that didn't make sense, I've heard other experiences of people who minimally participate, or they just think because they join that there's going to be some magic manifestation of business. But the truth behind that is it's a resource center, it's a hub, it's a community within itself. And if you don't integrate and participate within that community, then you're going to be just on the sidelines. Yeah. So share a little bit about the participation that you guys see, or that you enjoy so much about the Forsyth County Chamber of Commerce. One thing that you both have in common, all of us here at the table, is servant leadership. You keep emphasizing positive change and lasting, meaningful relationships. So talk about some of those commonalities and your enthusiasm behind them.
Well, for me, the focus that we spend a great deal of time on is realizing that when business people come together to either network or work on an initiative, what they're really bringing to the table, it's like they're bringing their babies to the table. Derek and his description of the growth of their business, that is integral to the part of to who he is and to his life. It's a dream, and we take that very seriously. That people are really coming to us with their dreams and something that is very near and dear to them. And so what I try to do in my role in the organization is to keep us focused on that's actually almost a sacred responsibility, because people are coming to you with something that is so vulnerable. You don't see it at a networking event. You don't think, gosh, everybody here's a dreamer and coming in. That's not it at all. But if you peel that onion back, what you get to layers below is in fact that's the case. So once you sort of acknowledge that and recognize that and understand that in terms of the seriousness of the work that we're doing, it opens up all these other doors of how to better serve others, because helping people to execute the dream that they have is really all about building community, and that community furthers the cause of helping people build those dreams and prosperity. So I kind of come from that place. I also know that there is the ripple effect of the work of the chamber is unbelievable. There are so many stories that I have of where, sort of, Derek, what you were saying, you're in the room, you're present, and you make a relationship that 20 years from now you are yielding the benefit from. I tell our team all the time, we were hosting an event here in the community this many years ago, and a woman came to the event and was looking for a job. And so she had a background in healthcare. I introduced her to a healthcare organization that was there at that event. 5 years later, she came up to me at an event. I did not recognize her. I didn't know who she was, because I only spent maybe 10, 15 minutes with her at this event. And she said, "You may not remember this, but you introduced me to an organization that hired me, and I'm now the regional director. There was no way for you to know this, but at the time, I was going through the end of a very ugly divorce. I was becoming a single mom. I didn't have a home. I didn't know she said, I was absolutely scared to death. And now I live on the lake. I've remarried. I have a child with my new husband, and very happy. And it brought a very personal, and that was, she just showed up for 15, 20 minutes at an event that we just brought a bunch of people together, and something really great came out of that. And that's just the one that I know about. I'm sure there are others. So that's a probably long way to answer that question, but to me, that is the heart and soul of what it's really all about.
That was fantastic. And for those of you just joining us, we are speaking with the Forsyth County Chamber of Commerce, President and CEO James McCoy, joined by the current board chair, Derek Brooks, as well as the Vice President of Business Development, Michelle Daniels. Derek, I'd love to kind of hear your opinion on the same topic, about your enthusiasm behind the great work you guys are doing here in Forsyth.
I don't think, as James was talking, I was trying to think what is the right answer to this. And I don't think there's a thing more important than relationships. I really think relationships make the world go round. And the chamber is really just a place to invest in relationships. I mean, it gives you opportunity to build relationships with people you didn't have an opportunity to build with before. And, yeah, I mean, if you just stay involved, and you were talking earlier, the more you put in, the more you get out. And if you're at the events, I mean, the way the human brain works is crazy, but the reticular activating system, I talk a lot about that with marketing. And when you become aware of people, you'll stay aware of those people. And certain people, you may even want to, you may be attracted to, not romantically, but you may want, there's just something energy about them. Yeah. That you want to have a relationship with them. And those things, it's just crazy. The things that can happen when you get a couple people together that just think alike,
motivated. Yeah.
Yeah. And you just don't even know the fireworks that could happen. And I mean, yeah, I've been involved with nonprofits that were stifled, not really doing anything. You put the right people in the room, they think differently, and crazy things happen. And now they're taking off.
Thank you for your perspective on that, Derek. Michelle, I'd like to include you in the conversation because you are largely responsible for a lot of the events that we're speaking about, orchestrating them and strategically compiling these people so that we can all have success together. Share with our listeners a little bit about what goes into providing all these resources and planning all of these functions. I myself have participated in some pretty high caliber events here within the community that have been paramount in helping educate me about Forsyth as a newcomer to the county. One of them was last year, and it was the Answer the Call. When you guys visit the website, you will actually see some photos from the Answer the Call on the graphics, and that was a very information-packed event. And Derek was on stage leading that conversation in a green sequin jacket. Thank you. Looking stylish.
Beautiful.
Holiday
I
theme.
almost wore it today.
Oh, that would have been great. But just about all of the hard work that you put into providing these resources and these elements for all of the members to continue to grow and thrive.
Sure. Well, it's really it's a group effort, and we actually have a phenomenal events director on our team, Jesse Martin, who really orchestrates what we call our hallmark events, the ones that really push the needle and really kind of help celebrate the community, lift the community. One of those is Celebration of Excellence, which honors the Teachers of the Year, Partners in Education for Forsyth County Schools. And this year, I mean, it was just an absolute, it was an honor to be in that room, seeing the gentleman who was presented with the Teacher of the Year for the entire county. He gave one of the most phenomenal speeches. In fact, many of us in the room were like, well, man, if he doesn't want to stay a math teacher, he'd be a great speech writer, because it was so compelling and amazing to hear his story about just kind of his journey as becoming a teacher and wanting to give back to the community. And it really, we all, as a team, we looked around and we're like, and this is why we do what we do. To be able to be in a room, 520 people. In fact, it was the first event that we've had really since the pandemic of that size. And it felt very normal, but it was really wonderful to be in that room with leaders from all over the community, healthcare, education, our board of commissioners, just all different facets of the community coming together to celebrate our school system. But that's just one component. That's just one event. We also host a lot of economic development events with transportation specifically in mind. And I'll throw that to James later to talk more about what that looks like. But, we're a team, and last year alone, I think it was 156 events between webinars, Zoom calls, different things, in-person events, networking opportunities that we hosted for our community. And it spans a variety of ways. It goes from your smaller in-person coffee networking that we do at Halcyon. I think it's the last Friday of every month.
The 9 before 9?
The 9 before 9, that's correct. To our, bi-monthly power networking lunches, which has been a long-standing favorite of our members. But really, truly at the core of it, every event is a networking event. And like, you both have said so poetically today, is that it's really what you put into it. And those that come to events early and stay afterwards, that's when, a lot of the networking really happens at some of those large-scale events. Because those events is where you get to be face-to-face in a room with the decision makers of the community, the ones that really want to propel change. And so I'm very proud to be part of that in my future role. I was able to help develop those events, but over the last 3 years, Jesse Martin on our team and Laura Stewart have really taken it to an entirely new level with technology. Technology has propelled our events into a whole new realm, because now we do a lot of the LED walls, because now we have to really do a hybrid style where, we have a lot of people who just don't, quite frankly, have the time to come to our events in person, but they still want to be a part of it. And so we have that, virtual component that's very important to our team, that we can have them live on in infamy on YouTube. So if you don't subscribe to us on YouTube, definitely head over to FOCO Chamber on YouTube to check out our previous events and current events coming up. So, but James, I'd love for you to talk about some of our economic development events that we have, especially this year, because it's going to be a big year for economic development and a lot of things coming down the pipeline. So
last year was actually our biggest year ever, $250 million of new of companies announcing new capital investment, developers who, and all of this is non-residential, commercial, and non-retail. These are folks who are coming to our community tech companies, small advanced manufacturing companies that are investing in our community. And this past year was a banner year for us. We had 1,500 jobs announced, I believe, last year, somewhere in that ballpark. And really, the whole idea behind economic development is, working with our partners, the county, the schools, our commercial real estate partners, the State Department of Economic Development, and the utility companies to be able to put what we call the product out there, the available space for companies to locate in Forsyth County. I mean, we are blessed with a phenomenal school system. We are blessed with great transportation infrastructure. We are blessed with a lot of amenities that clearly a lot of people are interested in being a part of. So we don't have, we're not in a place where we have to provide any excuses. We're at a place where we just need to be able to build the space and those commercial buildings for those companies to come. So that's what we work on. We work on, we have Slade Gulledge, who's our Vice President of Economic Development and the head of the Ford Forsyth Economic Development Partnership. That's all of those partners that we're talking about. And really it's coming together to identify a strategy and execute that strategy well in a thoughtful, measurable way, so that we can grow greater investment in our community. And there's a lot of reasons for that, the tax digest and a number of other things. But primarily it's about creating prosperity and opportunity and greater investment in our community, so that it's not just a great place to live and raise your kids. It's a great place to start your business. It's a great place to grow your business. It's a great place as an entrepreneur to come and build what you want to build. It's a great place for, we have lots of examples of these in Forsyth County, companies that are headquartered in Germany who are trying to gain entry to the U.S. market. We are a great place for those companies, and they know that. And we've worked for a long time to build that. And really, oftentimes, we'll talk about if you just live in Forsyth County and you're going about your daily life. Well, what does that mean to you? And what that really means, in at least in my view, to you is that. First of all, those folks are all paying property taxes that you're not having to pay. So from a straight up just, let's think about it from my own standpoint, being able to bring more of those companies means that it's more likely that we as a community are going to be able to keep our millage rate low and be able to have more money to do what we want to with our lives. Those companies are also helping us pay for transportation infrastructure. So if we like roads wider and we like intersections that are more streamlined and all of that, those companies are helping us to do that. And that's to say nothing of all the other economic benefits that come along with it. So that's really what it is, and really why we do it. And there's a lot of opportunity for folks to be engaged and involved in that work.
That's great. Well, and I think, and you touched upon it, it's, Forsyth County is a great place to live. And we all are residents of the community, and then it's also a great place to work. But a lot of people are starting to see, and there's a lot of buzz because it's a really fun place to play too. And one of the fun facts that a lot of people don't know about the Chamber is we also serve as the tourism entity for the community as well. So Joni Buford is our director of tourism and is leading an incredible effort to recruit more sporting tournaments here. We've got an incredible, it's the number one rated parks and recreation in all of the state of Georgia for the last 4 years, which is impressive. And so we have a lot of sports tournaments that naturally want to flock here and come and play here. And so we've got Lake Lanier in our backyard and a lot of fun, live, work, play communities that are being developed at a rapid pace as well. So it's become such a fun thing for me to experience, especially another thing that the Chamber does that a lot of people don't realize is those yellow signs when you're seeing filming productions happening. Well, the Chamber is the group that puts together those filming productions coming to our community. So we've hosted Ozark and several different feature films here as well. And so that's also a really fun component that a lot of people benefit from, especially business owners, because it's very lucrative to have your business be rented for filming purposes. So
Absolutely. And actually, I live very near where the home for the Ozarks was used to film, right there on the lake. So when I drive by the, I think it's the Army Corps of Engineers campgrounds, you can literally see it. So that is nice. And it is a cool talking point. There are so many robust offerings here, not only through the chamber, but in Forsyth as a county. Kind of as we are coming to an end with our show, I'd like to give each of you an opportunity to share something fun that you enjoy most about our beautiful community. And I will ask Michelle first, because I know that Michelle, I don't want to disclose where you exactly live, but you are a resident of a live, work, play community here in the local area. And I'm sure that you enjoy being able to walk down and grab a bite to eat, or maybe take advantage of some of those trails. So beyond that, what would you say is one of the most attractive things about this community to you, or something that you enjoy doing most here?
Oh, well, so I'm definitely spoiled that I can walk downstairs and be able to have access to 33 restaurants, a movie theater, and, now 12 miles of beautiful Big Creek Greenway at my doorstep, which is incredible. So that's absolutely one of my favorites. But another secret gem that I absolutely love is being able to go and head over to Mary Alice Park and enjoy some of the beach access there. A lot of people don't realize there's actually beach access at Mary Alice Park.
Really nice
It's
beach,
really
too.
nice.
Yeah.
They've completely redone it. It's beautiful, and it's really nice if you want some. I'm a water baby. I'm from Florida originally, and so when I'm kind of yearning for some water adventures, or even just being able to be in that serenity, be able to head over there. And then I look forward to every year. I have to give a shout out to our fairgrounds crew, because we host an amazing the Country Coming Fair and Festival every single year, every single October, and I look forward to it every single year. It's a really fun event.
Thank you for telling me that. I just wrote down Mary Ellis and the Country Coming Fair. So I look forward to checking both of those out.
Awesome.
And yourself, Derek?
Yeah. I like the Greenway too. And we were fortunate that a subdivision right across the road from our print shop connects to the Greenway. So I can literally, and we have showers at the print shop. So I can literally, at lunch, put on my running clothes, go across the road, get on the Greenway, do a little run, come back, shower, and y'all don't even know. Everybody, we're just doing business again. So I love the Greenway, and I'm on the part that they just redid over on the south end. Mm-hmm. I'm really excited about that. Our parks, you just can't beat our parks. I mean, how many, what do they call them, rectangle fields? How many? I know it used to be 17. It's got to be more.
Yeah, I think we're at 26 now.
Yeah. I mean, you can, turf fields, what?
It's awesome. And Sawney Mountain is right here. We can almost see it.
Yeah, it's crazy. But I'll tell you what I did last week that's a new thing in the county. I went to the FOCO Center. Some people want to call it the FOCO Center. It doesn't matter. Call it what you want. Nobody knows. It's not established enough to be wrong yet. So I call it the FOCO Center. That stands for Forsyth Center of Arts and Learning, something like that. So it's our school system built it, and Friday, I think it was Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, they did what they call the Penguin Project, and it was Annie, the play Annie, but it was all the performers were special needs students, and they had mentors beside them dressed the same. So if they forgot a line or something, the mentor would kind of whisper in it. They didn't need them much. It was, I'm not a drama person. I'm not a theater person. But I wanted to see that. So me and my wife went. We did not have a dry eye the whole time, because we were either laughing or crying it was just fantastic. It was amazing. And the FOCO Center is a beautiful, beautiful building. And that was their first produced play that they've had in the theater. So it was awesome.
And I'll have to check that out, because I think the event that I mentioned before that answered the call, that was kind of like the grand, I don't want to say grand opening, but that was the first time that it was pretty much open. And it was a beautiful auditorium. So I can only imagine what the play was like, having sat in those chairs. James, what are some of the things that you enjoy about the beautiful community?
So just in terms of stuff I like to go do for fun, so I fish. And so most people, I think, that I tell, I go, of course you like to go fish. There's Lake Lanier. But actually, I have never once been fishing on Lake Lanier, because I fly fish. So the water needs to be moving. And what Lake Lanier gives those of us who fly fish is wonderful, what we call tailwater. So all that water coming out of the dam is cold enough to support trout. And but really between here and all the way down to the perimeter, there's a really great trout population that's there, and the state, has done a great job. The hatchery is here. It's actually within Chattahoochee River Club, and so there are some great spots that are along, and of course that's our Forsyth County border with Gwinnett County. But the best spots are on the Forsyth County side, of course. But have done several float trips, and if I can, through the season, if I can carve out a few hours, I will go in the morning or afternoon and take my waders and go out and fly fish. So that's, for me, that's one. And the other, we love to kayak and canoe, and that primarily canoe. And the Etowah Blue Way and that's in the very northwest part of the county, and is that Eagles Peak Park, and which is just a stunningly beautiful park, and hats off to the county for making that happen. But there is a great access to the Etowah River, and it's part of a much larger, what they call blue trail of being able to canoe and kayak. And even though the Etowah does not go through just a small part of Forsyth County, it's still, and we've been to several access points on the Etowah. It is by far and away the best. It is, well, when it's new, but it's also really well maintained and has some great facilities and amenities. So for us, those are the biggies.
Well, all of those things sound like great fun, and I have fiercely taken notes so that I can check out some of these points of attraction here within the community. Before we end our discussion, Michelle, I would like for you to share with our listeners how people can become involved with the Chamber, should they like. I, as a new member, if anybody out there would like to join as my guest for an event, please, you're welcome to be my guest. That's how I kind of drank the Kool-Aid, per se, to begin with. Derek's holding up his finger. Go for it.
I just want to congratulate you for how you have learned to say Forsyth correctly so quickly.
Thank you. Should I slaughter it for those who didn't hear me say it? I mean, Forsyth.
Yeah. I think maybe both versions are good. I like to tell people are like, so is it like F-E or no? Just
you
take
said fur. You told me fur.
It's not Forsyth. Just take the O
Forsyth.
out. Just take the O out.
Forsyth.
Right.
Thank you.
Yeah. So anyhow, you're doing a great job with that. Thanks for assimilating correctly.
Absolutely.
Derek, thank you for making this an educational program as well.
Hey.
Absolutely.
Very good.
I didn't want to stand out like a sore thumb when I came here, so thanks for helping me blend in. Michelle, kind of going back to how people can become involved, and maybe if they wanted to check out an event or connect with anybody on your team to learn more, share with our listeners how they can do that.
Of course, you can always stay connected with us on social media. You can find the Forsyth County Chamber on LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube, and simply search FOCO Chamber. If you're interested in learning more about joining the Forsyth County Chamber of Commerce, you can always send me an email at mdaniels@focochamber.org.
Exciting. Thank you very much for sharing your information. If you guys decide to get out there and move and shake with us in the marketplace, James will be there with a smile to shake your hand at the door. You might see Derek on stage wearing something incredibly awesome. Michelle and I will be there smiling and networking and chatting. And you guys always stay connected with us on businessradiox.com. You can listen to these shows 24/7 by selecting the Forsyth Studio. All of these shows will also be available wherever you listen to your audio shows. So we're going to be on iTunes, Stitcher, Spotify. Where do you listen to your podcast, Michelle?
I'm typically iTunes mostly, but I do Spotify every once in a while.
And what about you, Derek?
Definitely Spotify guy.
Spotify and James.
I'm a mixture of several things because not everything's on everything.
Yeah, that's true.
So Spotify, but I also, certainly, Castbox is another.
Oh, Castbox. Good call. Castbox.
Yes.
Yep.
Yes.
Absolutely.
And actually, I'm a big podcast guy. I love podcasts. So and have plenty of time in the car to do that. But before we close, I want to tell you congratulations, not just on saying Forsyth, but this whole, the studio, the the investment that you're making in the community and the work that you're doing, and being able to tell the story of folks like Derek and many, many, many other. I mean, Forsyth County is full of incredible business people with great stories to tell, and thank you for doing your part to shine the light on that, and thank you for your partnership with us, too. We greatly value that and appreciate everything you're doing.
Thank you very much. Well, here we aim to please, and we aim to amplify the voice of business. So I look forward to being shoulder to shoulder with you guys in the community, enjoying these events and participating in some of these fun things that you guys shared with me. Michelle, you mentioned that you guys had a YouTube channel, and I like to tune into some virtual events. How can our listeners find you guys on YouTube?
Absolutely. So if you just search Forsyth County Chamber of Commerce, we'll pop up right number one in your search feed.
Boom. And you guys be sure to subscribe to FOCO Talks. You can find that on all of your major platforms. And again, for all of our guests today, I want to thank you for joining us, Mr. James McCoy, Derek Brooks, and Michelle Daniels. For today, I am your host, Amanda Pierce, and this has been FOCO Talks on Business RadioX.